Okay. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think the presentation is not synchronized properly. Let me rejoin the call once again. Just one sec. Okay. Can you people see the screen? Yes. No. Can you see the screen? Okay. The first topic which we are going to discuss today, that is equivalent thermal conductivity. Now it is very similar to the resistance method which we have studied earlier. Say that uh, a composite system has been given to you. We have a composite wall. The first layer has got a thickness of say L1, the second layer has a thickness of L2, and the third layer has a thickness of L3. The first one has a thermal conductivity K1, second one has a thermal conductivity K2, and the third one has a thermal conductivity K3. Area, the cross-sectional area available over here, suppose that it is K, and the question says that determine the equivalent thermal conductivity of the given system. Now, in this case, what we are going to do, we are going to consider that we have got a single material and overall thickness of the material that is same as that of summation of the entire wall given to us. Is it clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if that will be the case, then what will be overall thickness of the wall? Just tell me the meeting code again. What is the meeting code?
Screen is not visible, sir.
Yeah, tell me the meeting code once again. It is O double Y after that.
AYVI
AYVI
TQI.
EQI. Okay. So we had three different components. We had three different layers of the wall, which had thickness L1, L2, and L3. We are going to consider that we have a single material now. So what will be thickness of that single material? It will be L1 plus L2 plus L3, right? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Say that on this side of the wall, we had a temperature of T1. On the other side, we have a temperature of T2. Now, for the other materials which we have considered, here also consider that on one side you have a temperature T1, on the other side you have a temperature T2. And in this case, the thermal conductivity of the material which you have considered over here, say that thermal conductivity of the material that is K equivalent. Any doubt in this part? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. Mm, okay. Now, say that I'm talking about the composite system given to us. How many resistances can you see over there? If I'm talking about the resistances between temperatures T1 and T2, how many resistances for heat transfer can you see?
Two, sir.
How to? Which are the two resistances?
So three, sir. K1, K2. Yeah, three, sir.
Yeah, three resistances. So I'm going to draw all the three resistances. We have the temperature T1. Here we have the first resistance. Then we have the second resistance and the third resistance. Someone please tell me what is thermal resistance for a plane wall? What is the relation?
L by K.
L by Ka. So here this first thermal resistance is going to be L1 by K1A. Second one will be L2 by K2A. And the third one is going to be L3 by K3A. Here we have the other temperature, which is T2. Let's talk about the system which we have assumed over there. We are calling it as the equivalent system. It means both the systems are going to transfer same amount of heat. Both are going to transfer heat at the same rate. So here also we have temperatures T1 and T2, but in between T1 and T2 we have got a single resistance, which will have value L divided by K equivalent multiplied by area, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And what will be the L value over here? What will be thickness of this wall?
So L1 plus L2 plus L3.
L1 plus L2 plus L3. So you can directly write we have L1 plus L2 plus L3 whole divided by K equivalent multiplied by area. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, since both of them should transfer heat at the same rate. So can we say that this total thermal resistance value must be equal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for determining equivalent thermal conductivity, this is the idea which we are going to use. We are going to assume this entire system as a single body, which has got thermal conductivity K equivalent. The thickness of the body becomes equal to the overall thickness of the entire system, which is L1 plus L2 plus L3, and cross-sectional area available for heat transfer that remains the same. So here, if I'll equate the entire thing, what I'm going to get is, just one sec, what I'm going to get is L1 divided by K1A plus L2 divided by K2A plus L3 divided by K3A. This is going to be L1 plus L2 plus L3 divided by K equivalent times area. Any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Yes, no? Okay. Now here, if you want to find out the value for K equivalent, what we can do, we can cancel out the area terms. And I can say that K equivalent value will be equal to L1 plus L2 plus L3 whole divided by L1 by K1 plus L2 by K2 plus L3 by K3. So whenever in the question they are asking you to determine equivalent thermal conductivity, this is the idea which you are going to use. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's say that here we have some convective heat transfer also going on. So say that on one side we have got a gas. On this side we have got a gas which has heat transfer coefficient of H1. On the other side, you have got some other gas which has got heat transfer coefficient of H2. Here the thickness is same. Here we have L1. Here we have L2 and thickness of the third layer, that is L3. Thermal conductivities are K1, K2 and K3 respectively for all the three layers. In this case, if you want to find out equivalent thermal conductivity, again you are going to use the same logic. Say that temperature of both the gases have been given. Here, on one side, the temperature is T1. On the other side, the temperature is T2. Now, if I am talking about resistances in between T1 and T2, how many resistances can you see? In between T1 T2, how many resistances do we have?
5, sir.
3, sir.
Five resistances, because T1 is not the temperature of the surface. T1 is temperature of this gas over here. So from the gas till the surface, heat transfer is going to take place by the mode of convection, right?
Yes, Yes, sir. sir.
Okay. So we have one resistance due to convection here for the first gas. Then we have conductive resistance for the first layer, conductive resistance for the second layer, conductive resistance for the third layer, and convective resistance for the second gas. Got this part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me draw all the 5 resistances over there. So here we have the first one, we have second, we have third, fourth, and the fifth one. If I write the value of all the resistances, first we have resistance due to convection. What is the relation for resistance due to convection?
1 by HA.
1 by HA. So here I'm going to write 1 divided by H1A. Then we have resistance due to conduction through a plane wall. So we will have L1 divided by K1A. Then we will have L2 by K2A. We will have L3 by K3A. And the last one is going to be 1 divided by H2A. If you want to determine the equivalent thermal conductivity for the given system, assume that you have got a single material which has got thermal conductivity K equivalent, and on both the sides of that particular material, the temperature values are T1 and T2, and overall thickness of this material, that is uh, thickness of the entire system which was given to you earlier, which will be L1 plus L2 plus L3. Got it? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think when I'm writing here on the screen, there is lag in that. So please bear with that. If you people won't be understanding anything, then just please let me know. I'll wait for some time. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Now, here, if I will see this particular system, this is going to have only one resistance in between T1 and T2. And the resistance value that is going to be L1 plus L2 plus L3 divided by K equivalent multiplied by area. Now, since the systems are equivalent, we will say that the resistances of the systems are also same, and hence we can equate both of them. If you will equate both of them over here, here we can say that K equivalent value, that is going to be L1 plus L2 plus L3 whole divided by 1 by H1 plus L1 by K1 plus L2 by K2 plus L3 by K3 plus 1 divided by H2. Any doubt in this part? Yes, no?
No, sir.
Okay. This particular concept is called as equivalent thermal conductivity. We have a similar concept which is called as overall heat transfer coefficient. So let me introduce that term now. In equivalent thermal conductivity, what we have assumed that this entire system can be replaced by a single material, by a single solid material through which conduction is taking place, and the thermal conductivity of the material, that is K equivalent. Whenever you are replacing the entire system with a single material, with a single solid material through which conduction takes place, we will have equivalent thermal conductivity over there. But say that you are replacing this entire material with a single fluid through which convective heat transfer is taking place. But the condition is whatever heat transfer was taking place earlier, now also heat transfer should take place at the same rate. Then the concept which we are going to use, that will be called as overall heat transfer coefficient. Let me write it properly over here. Say that here we have got the first layer. The first layer has got a has got a thickness L1. Second layer has thickness L2. Third layer has a thickness L3. And on this side, we have got some gas, which has got heat transfer coefficient H1. Thermal conductivities of the materials are K1, K2, and K3. On the other side, we have gas, which has gas or any fluid, it can be liquid also, which has heat transfer coefficient H2. Now, if I am talking about the temperatures, say that for the first fluid, the temperature is T1, and for the second fluid, temperature is T2. Now, the resistances between T1 and T2 will be 5 different resistances, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
How many resistances will be there between T1 and T2? It's the same system, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are going to have 5 different resistances over there. The first resistance value is going to be 1 divided by H1A. The second resistance is due to conduction, and the value will be L1 by K1A. The third one will be L2 by K2A. The fourth one is L3 by K3A. And the last one is 1 divided by H2A. Now, here, if you want to find out what is the overall heat transfer coefficient of the system, let me write it over here. We have overall heat transfer coefficient. So in order to determine overall heat transfer coefficient, what we do, we assume that the heat transfer is taking place by the mode of convection. So here we have some fluid. The fluid has got convective heat transfer coefficient of U. On one side, the temperature is T1. On the other side of the fluid, the temperature is T2. Now, if we have a fluid over here, what will be the mode of heat transfer? Say that in place of all the five resistances, you are assuming that we have a single material and that is a fluid. What will be the mode of heat transfer for a fluid? Conduction or convection?
Conviction.
Convection. So here we will write down the value of convective thermal resistance, which will be 1 divided by HA should be the value, but here we are assuming that H value is equal to capital U. So here we are going to write capital U multiplied by area. Got this part? The resistance value is going to be 1 divided by UA. Any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll wait for 1 by UA to appear on the screen. After that, I'll proceed. Okay, should I leave the call and join once again? I think the lag is a lot. Here we have
So
1
it
by
came
UA on this. Okay, we have 1 by UA. 1 by UA is the thermal resistance for this given case. Now, since we are saying that both the systems are equivalent, the total thermal resistance for both the systems, that should be same, right? Yes, no?
yes, sir.
Okay, so here we get the equation. The equation will be 1 divided by UA. This is going to be 1 by H1A, L1 by K1A plus L2 by K2A plus L3 by K3A plus 1 by H2A. Area terms can be cancelled out, and we can say that 1 by U, that is equal to 1 by H1 plus L1 by K1 plus L2 by K2 plus L3 by K3 plus 1 divided by H2. Okay, I'll repeat again. 1 by UA, that is equal to 1 by H1A plus L1 by K1A plus L2 by K2A plus L3 by K3A plus 1 by H2A. So resistances of both the systems, that should be same. That's how we have equated the equation. And we have cancelled out the area terms from all the elements. And eventually we get the relation for 1 divided by capital U. Is it clear to all? Yes, no?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you have the value of 1 divided by capital U, you can also find the value of capital U. And this capital U will be called as overall heat transfer coefficient of the material. Got it? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, we have the next topic for us. The next topic is thermal contact resistance. Just please give me 2 minutes. I'll just rejoin the call. One sec. why? Why? Yeah, can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The next topic is thermal contact resistance. So first we'll see what thermal contact resistance means and what is the effect of thermal contact resistance. Before we move to the topic, can anyone tell me what is the unit for thermal resistance? Anyone? Say that RTH is thermal resistance. What would be the unit for thermal resistance? Acha, tell me the relation for heat transfer in terms of thermal resistance. Q is equal to what?
Delta T by L by Ka.
Okay, delta T by L by K. It is not always L by Ka because L by Ka is the thermal resistance only for a plane wall, right? If we will talk about a hollow cylinder or if we will talk about a hollow sphere, the thermal resistance values are different. If we will talk about convection, then also the thermal resistance value is different, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here we say that Q value is equal to delta T by RTH. This is the relation. Can we say that RTH will be equal to delta T divided by Q? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
So from here you can see that unit for this thermal resistance is going to be Kelvin per watt or degree Celsius per watt. Got this part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, Say that we have got a composite wall with us. Here we have the first wall and here we have the second wall. We are bringing these two walls in contact with each other, or say that these are two different layers of a composite wall. This is the first layer, this is the second layer. Now, here what we assume that there is perfect contact in between the two layers. Uh, I'll tell you what we mean by perfect contact. Suppose that we are taking the layers separately. Here we have the first layer, this is the second layer. The first layer has been taken over here, and the second layer has been taken over here. Say that in a particular case, heat is flowing in this particular direction. It means uh, at this section we should have the highest temperature, and at this section we should have the lowest temperature, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's say that here the temperature value is 100 degrees Celsius, here the temperature value is 20 degrees Celsius, and for a given case, for a definite value of L1, L2, K1, and K2, at the junction or at the interface of the two layers, we are getting a temperature value of, say, 80 degrees Celsius. Now, when you will take the layers separately, here we will have a temperature of 100. On this side of the first layer, you will have a temperature of 80. And on this side of the second layer, you will have a temperature of 80. Got this part?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And here you will have a temperature of 20. When this is the condition, we say that we have perfect contact between the two layers. Clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But in actual, what is going to happen? There will be some roughness on the two surfaces. The first surface will be somewhat like this, and the second surface is also going to be somewhat like this. If you will see a magnified view of the both surfaces, of both the surfaces. When you will bring these surfaces in contact with each other, the system is going to look something like this. Here we have the first layer, we have the the second layer, and there is some air gap in between. Can you see this gap? This one, this one. Can you see the air pockets in between?
Yes, sir.
Now, due to these air pockets, what happens? The temperature on this particular phase and the temperature on this phase of the layers are not same. There will be some temperature drop over there because there is some air between the two faces, and that air is also going to act as a thermal resistance. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now, generally in the questions, what they will do, they will give you the value of this thermal contact resistance. Thermal contact resistance means due to the imperfect contact between the two layers, there will be some resistance. This resistance might be caused due to air pockets which are formed between the two layers. And due to that thermal contact resistance, there will be some temperature drop in between the layers. We have to find out what that temperature drop is. Now, here, if you will see the variation of temperature for this composite wall, the variation of temperature will be like this. From this phase to this phase, temperature varies like this. Then at the interface, the temperature is going to drop down due to thermal contact resistance or due to imperfect contact between the two layers. And after that, again, temperature is going to drop down in this particular direction. So here we have T1, here we have T2, here we have T3, here we have T4. Now, in the question, they might ask you to determine what is the value of this temperature drop due to the thermal contact resistance. So say that you know what is the uh, heat which is flowing through the given wall, through the given composite wall. Here we can use a simple relation. The relation will be Q is equal to delta T divided by R. And if we are talking about this thermal contact resistance, due to the thermal contact resistance, the change in temperature is T2 minus T3. And here you can write contact resistance. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If the thermal contact resistance value is given to you, you can find out what will be the temperature drop at this interface. Any doubt in this part? Anyone?
No, sir.
Yes. Okay. So these were three topics which were left, which were not discussed in the previous class. We have one very important topic to be discussed now, which is conduction with heat generation. Now, before we move for conduction with heat generation, what we are going to do, we are going to discuss a equation which is called as general heat conduction equation. I think guys from 7th sem, they might be familiar with this equation, but it will be new for 5th sem guys. 7th sem, are you people aware of this equation, general heat conduction equation? Yes, no? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Prajwal, tell me what the equation is.
Sir, dou square T by dou x square plus
Okay,
dou square T by dou y square plus
okay,
dou square T by dou z square
okay,
plus Q by K, like heat
okay,
flow, is
okay,
equals to 1 by alpha dou T by dou tau.
okay, very good, Prajwal. Uh, we'll, we'll see it from the beginning. Say that we have some uh, rectangular element. We have very small element, very small rectangular element. Let me draw the element over here. Okay, this is the element which we have. This is the x direction for us. In the x direction, the thickness of the element, that is dx. This is the y direction for us. In y direction, the thickness of the element, say it is dy. And this is the z direction for us. In the z direction, suppose that thickness of the element, that is dz. Here we have to find out an equation which governs heat conduction for the given element. Say that for the element in the x direction, some heat is entering. Let's call it as Q in. And heat is leaving this particular phase in the x direction. You can call this as q out. Since this heat is entering in the x direction, let's call it as q in x, and let's call it as q out y, q out x. Any doubt in this part? Anyone? Yes, no? Uh, the question is from section guys. Is the system clear to all? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, suppose that some heat is entering the system from the y direction. Let's call it as q in y, and it is leaving this particular phase, and let's call it as q out y. Similarly, in the z direction, let's say that some heat is entering like this. Let's call it as q in z, and it will be leaving this phase which is not visible to us, and let's call that as q out in the z direction. Any doubt in this one? Is the system clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? Okay. Now, here we are going to write one energy balance equation. The energy balance equation is whatever heat is entering the system minus whatever heat is leaving the system plus whatever heat is generated inside the system, that will be equal to energy stored inside the system. Uh, Consider it like this. Say that you are the system and your parents gave you some money, right? This money, consider it as E in. Got it? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Out of that money, you are spending some money outside. Let's call it as E out. Here,
Yes, sir.
okay. Also, you are doing some part-time job and you are generating some income of your own. Let's call it as E gen. Here,
Yes, sir.
okay. Now, if you will add all these, if you will find out E in minus E out plus E gen, that will be the money which will be saved with you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how we are writing the energy balance equation. We are saying that some energy will be entering the system, some energy will be leaving the system, some energy will be generated inside the system. If you will add all of them with proper signs, you will get what is the energy which is stored in the inside the system. In stored inside the system. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when we are talking about this energy entering and leaving the system, this energy is entering and leaving the system from three different directions. Some energy is entering in X, leaving in X. Some energy is entering in Y, leaving in Y. Some energy is entering from Z direction and leaving in the Z direction. So if you want to find out this total value of the term E in minus E out, this is going to be E in minus E out in the x direction plus E in minus E out in the y direction plus E in minus E out in the z direction. Got it? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we will do, we will try to find out all these values one by one. And after that, we will say what the final equation is, what the final general heat conduction equation is. Let's talk about energy entering and energy leaving in the y direction. So here we have E in minus E out in the y direction. So this will be equal to q in the x direction minus q out in the x direction, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So energy entering in the x direction, say that it is entering at a section x, you can call it as qx. Since it is entering at a section x, it will be leaving at a section x plus dx, right? Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here this x plus dx, we are going to expand this particular function. We can say that This qx plus dx, this will be equal to qx plus del by del x qx dx. Are you people familiar with this kind of expansion, or should I explain this?
Sir, explain.
Okay, just one sec. Say that you have a function. The function is f of x. Here I am going to draw a graph for the same function. Suppose that the function is somewhat like this. Here we have a section. The section is x, and if it is x, the value of the function at that particular point that can be given by f of x, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? Okay. Let's talk about this one. Say that you are moving at a distance of dx in this particular direction. So here this location will be x plus dx, and the value of the function at this particular point, that is going to be f of x plus dx. Any doubt in this part? Yes, no?
No, sir.
This particular distance, this will be called as f of x plus dx minus f of x, and this region will be dx, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you want to find out slope of the curve at any point, can we say that slope is given by del y by del x?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? Okay. Or in this case, you can say that slope will be given by del x of f of x, right? Because y is the function over here. Got this part? Yes, no? On this axis, we have got y. Y is the representation for f of x, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So you can say that slope of the curve at any point that will be given by del x of f of x. Now, uh, here, since we are considering a small distance, you can consider this segment to be a straight line. You can consider this red segment to be a straight line, isn't it? Because this dx distance is very small.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you want to find out slope of that small segment, can we say that slope of this segment is equal to f of x plus dx minus f of x divided by dx? Can we say like this? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is equal to slope of the curve at any point, which is del by del x, f of x. Any doubt in this part?
No, sir.
Okay. You can say that f of x plus dx minus f of x. This is equal to del by del x, f of x times dx. We have taken this dx term on the other side. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Or we can write that f of x plus dx, this will be equal to f of x plus del by del x times, sorry, del by del x of f of x times dx. Can we write like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now here, if you will see this particular system, here qx is a function. This is the rate of heat conduction at the section x. This qx plus dx is rate of heat conduction at the section x plus dx. Now consider it as a function. So if I am considering qx as f of x, this will be f of x plus dx, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yes, Surya.
So this equation that energy in minus energy out of y equal to q. That equation I didn't understand, sir.
Sorry, here I've written y. This should be x actually. Here, what we are trying to do, we are trying to find out how much energy has entered in the x direction and how much has left in the x direction. We are trying to find the difference between those. Here, is this block clear to you? Is the element clear to you?
Yes, sir. But Q out is x plus dx is like x is in. Okay, got it, sir. Got it.
Did you
Hello.
get it? Yeah, did you get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I had written y before. It should not be y, it should be x over here. I wrote y by mistake. Now, here we are considering qx as a function f of x, then qx plus dx can be considered as f of x plus dx, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and we are expanding that function. Expansion of the function is f of x, plus del by del x, fx dx, and here we have written the same thing, f of x plus del by del x, fx dx. Got this part?
Yes, sir. Got it.
Okay. Let me erase this thing and write it again. Just one sec. So here we have E in minus E out, E in minus E out in the x direction. That is equal to Qx minus Qx plus dx. And we wrote it as Qx minus Qx plus del by del x, Qx dx. Here we can cancel out the Qx term, and ultimately what we are going to get is minus of del by del x, Qx dx. Can we write like this? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Qx is the rate at which heat is entering the section X. Now, tell me by what mode heat will be entering the element? By the mode of conduction, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And which law governs conduction? Ellen?
Fourier's law, sir.
Okay, Fourier's law. Niriksha, tell me the equation for Fourier's law. Okay, Prajwal,
Yes, sir.
what is the expression for Fourier's law? Heat is equal to what? Rate of heat conduction is equal to what? Okay, good Niriksha, it is minus Ka dt by dx. So here we can replace the value of Qx. We know that rate of heat conduction is given by minus Ka dt by dx. So we need to substitute the same. Say that thermal conductivity of the material, that is K. I'm going to write K over here. Can anyone tell me what is the area at which heat is entering in the direction X? Heat is entering this particular phase, right? Heat is entering this green phase, right? What is the area of that green phase?
dy into
dy
dz.
into dz.
Dy into dz. So here I'm going to write K times dy into dz. This is the area term minus Ka dt by dx. Instead of writing dt by dx, I'm going to write dot t by dou x, because here temperature is a function of x, y, z and time. Here temperature is varying in all the directions. That's why heat was flowing in all the directions. So here I'm going to write del t by del x instead of dt by dx, and this multiplied by dx. Now, since we are partially differentiating with respect to x, I can take some terms outside, and the expression becomes something like this. This will be equal to K. We are assuming that thermal conductivity of the material, that is constant. So we have K outside. We have dx, dy, and dz outside. We have dx, dy, and dz outside. And this term del by del x of del t by del x, can we write that as del 2t by del x square? Can we write like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we have the expression for E in minus E out in the x direction. Similarly, we can find out E in minus E out in the y direction and the z direction as well. So see this relation and tell me what would be E in minus E out value in y direction and z direction. in y direction, we can write the expression as anyone.
K into dou
So
square
can to
K into del 2t by
dy square into dx dy dz.
del y square into dx dy dz. Similarly, in the z direction, E in minus E out value can be written as k times del 2t by del z square times dx dy dz. Any doubt in this part, anyone? Yes, no?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me erase this part. So here we have E in minus E out values in the x direction, in the y direction, and the z direction. Let me rewrite the energy balance equation which we had. The energy balance equation was E in minus E out plus E generation, that is equal to energy stored. Now this E generation term, this will be generally given in terms of energy generated inside the element per unit volume. So say that we have some term which is denoted by small script g. It is heat generated in the element per unit volume or rate of heat generation per unit volume. So can you tell me what will be the total rate of heat generation for the given element? If Qg is the rate of heat generation per unit volume, what will be the total rate of heat generation for the given element? Okay, what is the total volume of the element? Here we had an element with us. What were the dimensions of the element? It was dx, dy, and dz. What is the volume of the element?
dx dy dz.
Dx, dy, dz. So can we say that rate of heat generation is Qg times dx, dy, dz? Can we write like this? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this Qg is nothing but rate of heat generation per unit volume. Then we have the term E stored. Now, whenever heat will be stored in the body, what change is it going to cause? Say that you are taking water, you are supplying heat to water. That heat is not lost to the surroundings. What is going to happen to the water? What change will take place?
Temperature will increase, sir.
Okay, temperature is going to increase. So amount of heat transfer is going to raise the temperature of the body. We can say that amount of heat transfer can be given by mc delta t, right? M is mass of the element, c is specific heat of the element, and delta t is rise in temperature for the body, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but this gives us the amount of heat transfer. Here in the subject heat transfer, we are interested in the rate of heat transfer. So we divide this entire thing with time, the time in which this energy interaction took place. So if we will write the same term in differential form, we can say that energy stored term will be equal to mc times del t by del time. Is this part clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The mass of the element, this can be written as density times volume of the element. And again, what is the volume of the element? dx dy dz, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we can write that energy stored term that is equal to rho c del t by del time dx dy dz. Let me put everything in the expression now. And the equation, the energy balance equation which we are going to get right now, that is going to be k. K can be taken common over here for finding out E in minus E out. E in minus E out is the summation of all those terms. So K is taken common, and inside the bracket you will have del 2t by del x square plus del 2t by del y square plus del 2t by del z square multiplied by dx dy dz. Then you have the heat generation term, energy generation term, which is q gen times dx dy dz. This entire thing is equal to energy stored within the body, which can be given by rho c del t by del time dx dy dz. Any doubt in this part? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay. People from fifth sem, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Here we have dx dy dz for all the terms, isn't it? Can you see dx dy dz in all the terms?
Yes, sir.
So can we cancel that out?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you cancel out that term, what we get is del 2t by del x square. I'm cancelling out the term dx dy dz and I'm dividing the entire equation with k. So what we get is del 2t by del x square plus del 2t by del y square plus del 2t by del z square plus q gen by k, that is equal to rho c by k times del t by del time. This is called as general heat conduction equation. Got it? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Direct questions can come that which of the following is the general heat conduction equation. So you should try to answer that question. One similar question has come for GATE examination earlier, but that I have not put in the question bank right now. Maybe I'll be sharing a PDF. You can find that question over there and try to answer that question. Okay. This was about Cartesian coordinate system. This was whenever some system is given to us in which heat transfer might be taking place in x direction, y direction, or z direction. But the coordinate system given to us might not be Cartesian. It might be cylindrical or it might be spherical coordinate system. So I'm going to explain the same in cylindrical coordinate system as well. The general heat conduction equation in cylindrical coordinate system, that is a bit different. A slight change is made over there. We will see what that slight change is. And using that, we will try to answer a few questions which have been asked in the previous year's GATE examinations. Can we proceed with the next topic then? Is this part clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One more thing. Here this term rho c by k, it can be replaced with a quantity. We have a quantity which is called as thermal diffusivity. Thermal diffusivity is denoted by alpha, and alpha is equal to k divided by rho c. K is thermal conductivity and rho c is heat capacity of a given material. Now, here if you will see the term rho c by k, can we write it as 1 divided by alpha? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the same expression also becomes whatever is there on the left hand side, that is equal to 1 by alpha del t by del time. Moving to cylindrical coordinate system, let's take a cylindrical element first of all. So for taking the cylindrical element, consider a large cylinder. Say that here we have a large cylinder. Out of this large cylinder, cut a small segment of thickness dz. This is the z direction. So this is the z direction for you people. In the z direction, we are cutting a small segment of thickness dz. This small segment is going to look like a pizza, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now in this pizza, this particular direction is called as theta direction. In the theta direction, cut a small slice of angular thickness d theta, of an angle d theta. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take this slice out. So here you have the slice with you. And in this slice, this is called as radial direction. Whenever you will move along the radius, that is called as radial direction. So in the radial direction, cut a small segment of thickness dr. So let's take this small segment. Here I have highlighted with black. Let's cut it out. Got this part? Yes, no? Is it clear that how we are taking the cylindrical element? Yes, no, yes,
So
no.
what is this, sir? Sir, I was not able to connect. I was thrown out.
Okay. Here we are going to see the same general heat conduction equation for cylindrical coordinate system.
Okay.
So for that, we are going to consider a small cylindrical element. The previous one was for Cartesian coordinate system. For Cartesian coordinate system, we had seen a small rectangular element which had dimensions dx, dy, dz. For cylindrical, we need to take a cylindrical element. So I am explaining how to take a cylindrical element. For that, we have taken a cylinder like this. From the cylinder, take a small section of thickness dz. So here we have that a small section with us. This small section will look like a full pizza, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In this pizza, in the theta direction, take a small sector or take a small slice of the pizza, which has got uh, which has got an angle of d theta. Got this part? Yes, no? Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, from this slice, at a radius r, at a radius r, cut a small segment outside, which has got a thickness of dr. Is this part clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I am going to redraw the segment which we are going to have right now. So here we have the thickness dr. Here we have that small sector kind of thing. And this thickness is dz for us. And the element is going to look something like this, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
So yes, sir.
If if you will join it over here, let me extend it. If you will join it over here, it is going to join at the center of the sector. So say that this is the center of the sector. If you will see the distance from the center of the sector up till this particular point, it is r, and this angle is equal to d theta, right? Yes, no? Okay. Uh, Again, we are going to write the energy balance equation for this particular case. So energy balance equation remains the same. The energy balance equation is E in minus E out plus E gen, that is equal to energy stored within the element. But in the previous case, heat was moving in three different directions. Heat was moving in the x direction, y direction, and the z direction. Here, see what will be the direction of flow of heat. First, heat can flow in the z direction. It can enter from the bottom of the cylinder, or in this case it can enter from the bottom of the given element, and it can leave from the top like this, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear? Okay, let's call it as qz, and here we can call this heat as qz plus dz. This will be heat flowing in the z direction. Similarly, heat can flow in the radial direction. So here heat can enter this particular phase and heat can leave like this. This will be called as heat flow in the radial direction. Here we have QR, and here the heat leaving will be QR plus dr. Let me explain what do we mean by heat flow in the radial direction. Say that you have a so heat will be moving like this. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Say that here you have the cylinder like this. When we said heat moving in the z direction. So heat will be moving like this from the bottom phase to the top phase. This is heat flow in the z direction. Is it clear? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then let's take a particular surface. Say that here we have the surface of the cylinder. Consider the outer surface. If heat is moving from this point to some other point on the same surface, this will be called as flow of heat along the circumference of the cylinder, or you can call it as theta direction. That flow of heat will be called as flow of heat in the theta direction. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if heat is entering this particular phase and is moving in the theta direction, that is along the circumference of the element, then this will be called as heat flow in the theta direction. Let's say that q theta is entering and q theta plus d theta is leaving the element. Any doubt in this part? Guys, anyone, any doubt is there?
No,
Is
sir.
the system clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone from fifth sem, any clarification in the system? Surya, Shekhar, Samir, or should I continue? Is the element clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, again, we are going to find out E in minus E
Yes,
out
sir.
in different directions. Yeah. Again, we are going to find out E in minus E out in different directions. Now, if you will see the previous scenario, if you will see the Cartesian coordinate system, over there, all the directions were similar. That's why we got similarity in the equations. We we had calculated E in minus E out in x direction, and similarly, we could say that E in minus E out in y direction will be this much. In the z direction, it will be this much. But here, the flow of heat is not similar. It is following a different trend for all the directions, and hence the relations also won't be same. We are going to find the same thing over here. Say that I am finding E in minus E out in the z direction. We will start with the z direction first. So E in minus E out in the z direction, that will be equal to qz minus qz plus dz. This is similar to whatever we have done in the previous derivation. Again, expand qz plus dz. Anyone from fifth sem tell me what we are going to get over there? Qz plus dz will be equal to what? Anyone remembers the expression for f of x plus dx? Okay, someone from 7 sem? Should I rewrite this?
Sir, is it f of x plus uh, d by dx of f of x dz?
Okay, it's del by del x of f of x, then dx, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, use the same relation and tell me what can we write for qz plus dz.
F of z plus del z of
Okay, so qz plus del by del z of qz dz, right?
dz. Yes, sir.
Okay, and this becomes minus of del by del z qz dz, right?
Yes, sir.
uh, I'm going to substitute the value of qz. So here we get minus of del by del z times qz. So let's see how qz is flowing. Qz is entering from the bottom face, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
It means this will be the area which is available for heat transfer for the bottom face, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is that area value equal to? what is that area equal to?
dr d theta.
No, it's not dr d theta. Okay, again, let me clarify. What is this d theta? This d theta is angle, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if d theta is the angle, you cannot consider that as the distance. If that angle is d theta, tell me this length will be equal to what? What will be length of this particular section? This length value will be equal to what? Or this length
Sir,
value
r
will
into
be,
d theta.
okay, this will be r into d theta. That is length of the arc, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? Okay, so what will be area of the element?
Yes,
What
sir.
will be area of that particular face? Whatever is highlighted in yellow?
R dr d theta.
Okay, it will be r dr
dr.
into d theta, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here I am
Yes, sir.
going to write expression for qz. Qz is minus Ka dt by dx or minus Ka times temperature gradient. Here I am going to write minus K multiplied by area. Area term is r d theta times dr times uh, temperature gradient. So here, uh, what is the length which heat is traveling? What is the distance traveled by heat in that direction? In the element, across the element, how much distance heat has covered in the z direction?
dz
Dz.
dz.
So temperature gradient value will be given by del T divided by del Z. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Qz times dz. This is the expression which we have. Now here we are going to take the constant terms outside. Since we are differentiating partially, uh, r can be treated as constant, theta can be treated as constant. We are going to take those terms outside. What we get is k multiplied by del 2t by del z square multiplied by r d theta times dr times dz. Any doubt in this part? Anyone? Yes, no? Is this step clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Anyone from fifth sem? Any doubt in this part? Okay. Now let's see E in minus E out uh, in the R direction. So say that I want to find out E in minus E out. QR plus dr. Expand this. Here we have QR minus QR plus del by del R QR times dr. We can write like this, isn't it? Yes, no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Open the bracket and what we get ultimately is minus del by del R QR times dr. And we are going to substitute the value of QR now. So we get minus del by del R. For substituting the value of QR, again, we are going to use Fourier's equation, which says that rate of heat conduction, that is minus K multiplied by area multiplied by temperature gradient. So let's see which one is radial direction. So if I will be talking about the radial direction, this will be the area which will be available for flow of heat, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is that area value equal to?
R d theta dz.
Okay, it is r d theta times dz. Very good. So here I am going to write the expression of heat transfer, which is minus k multiplied by area, which is r d theta times dz multiplied by temperature gradient. Now tell me how much distance heat has covered in that particular direction.
dr.
Heat has covered a distance of dr. So temperature gradient will be given by del T divided by del R times dr. Here we have dr, so I'm going to write dr over here. And again, I'm going to take the constant terms outside. Now, if you will see, here we are partially differentiating with respect to r. It means all the variables other than r can be treated as constant terms for the partial derivative. So d theta and dz can be taken outside. But this r term cannot be taken outside the differential, right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here, if you will find out the uh, simplified form, it will be something like this. It will be k multiplied by L by del R of R del T by del R times dr d theta dz. Is this step clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you want to find out the simplified form of this one, this is derivative of two different functions. The first function is r. The first function is r. The second function is del t by del r. Now, if we take derivative of product of two different functions, differential of uv, that is u multiplied by v dash plus v multiplied by u dash, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, no? Okay. So we are going to use that relation. I can say that this becomes k multiplied by uh, first function. Suppose that r is the first function multiplied by derivative of the second function. That gives you del 2t by del r square plus uh, second function. So suppose that del t by del r is the second function multiplied by differential of the first function, which is equal to 1. So here we get r times del 2t by del r square plus del t by del r times dr d theta dz. Got this part? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, if you will see the previous term, here we had some value which was r d theta times dr times dz. It was nothing but volume of the entire element. If you will see volume of the element, it is r d theta multiplied by uh, dr multiplied by dz. Here we are getting all the terms. Here we are getting r d theta dr dz. But in the second relation, that r term is missing, isn't it? Yes, no?
Yes.
Sir, it also extra term like dt by dr are getting.
How the extra term we are getting? Okay, let me write something for you, Surya. Just one sec. Can you differentiate this? It is not visible on the screen yet. Just one second. Can you see the function on the screen, Surya? Am I audible?
Yes,
Am
sir.
I audible?
Yes, sir.
Ah, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see the function on the screen?
Hello?
you tell me that if
Hello. So you hear me now, sir?
Um, Guys, sir's network connection is not working properly, it seems. So, sir told he'll stop the class now. You can leave the call. He'll continue next. He's not able to even do the WhatsApp.